Hey Troy, it's good to see you. It's been a while.
It has been. It's been actually a couple of months now, to be honest.
Right. Um, Maybe for people who might not know you, maybe start with telling people a bit about you and what your journey up to this point.
Sure. One of my students, she's very um, like everything has a process and steps, and she, which I forwarded to you, she made that thing that I forwarded, and it was titled "How I Got to Where I Am," and I thought it was pretty awesome because, you know, my life before, as a chef and traveling and cooking in various countries like Netherlands, Spain, France, England, um, other parts of Canada, um, being able to walk and do whatever I wanted was amazing. And then when um, I suddenly started having symptoms of ataxia, which came on quickly and very strongly. And I was here in Ottawa, and I was doing, consultations with restaurants, cooking for um, justices of the Supreme Court of Canada, the Law Society of Ottawa, and like private individuals and diplomats from some different countries. And I suddenly became unable to uh, do my passion. And my neurologist couldn't figure out what was going on, and it was getting worse and worse very quickly. And uh, she wanted me to do this one test. And it's a test where you take the heel, and everyone can do this at home. You take the heel of your one foot, and you put it to your knee, and you try and slide it down your leg. And I couldn't do it. And she was like, okay, I think I know what's going on. I'm having you admitted to hospital. And while I was in hospital, they made me quit my job, telling me I'd never be able to work again. They made me give up my place because they said that I'd never be able to live on my own again. And after 5 months, just over 5 months in hospital, being put in every machine you could imagine, tests and dyes injected and x-rays and test after test and like chewing tests to see how well I'm swallowing. Um, they concluded I had ataxia, and at first they said Frederick's ataxia, but thanks to Susan, when we first met, well, now 2 years ago, she was like, nope, nope. When we were sitting at the beach, our Ottawa group was talking together and having a bit of a potluck, like basically bring your own food, but um, everyone was sharing what type of ataxia they had, and I was still pretty ignorant about ataxia. And I was like, oh, well, I was told I have friends with ataxia. And Susan was like, nope, no. So I went back to my doctor, and they concluded now that I have gluten ataxia because I also have celiac disease. And they think that from the years that I was consuming gluten, that it causes all the damage, and that's the organ that it decided to attack. Because when you have celiac disease, it will and does attack an organ in your body. Normally, it's your intestine or your liver or something. And in some cases, it could be the cerebellum. And so in my case, it ended up being cerebellum causing ataxia. Um, so they put me into a retirement home where I festered for 2 years. And I started becoming quite depressed. You know, at the time I was 45, and I was like, you know, I'm living with people twice my age, and you know, I'm living on $125 a month, which is all the government gave me for the entire month for anything I wanted. But at the same time, the home wasn't providing a gluten-free diet for me, so it was causing things for me to get worse. And I started losing a lot of weight, and as you can see, I'm not exactly a big guy. And they I started having to spend that entire amount just getting snacks and fruit. So I had stuff I could actually eat, because in the retirement home, if I couldn't eat the meal, their idea of a alternative meal was, and I'm not exaggerating in any way, it was a sandwich with one slice of cheese in it. That was the alternative. And I'm like, well, I can't eat the bread. I can eat cheese, but now it's touched the bread. I can't eat the cheese because there are bits of the bread on it, and that would make me sick. So I was getting depressed, and I reached out to my ODSP worker, which is my health worker, and I expressed to her that, you know, like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. There's no way. Like, I asked about independent living, and they told me there was a 6 to 8 year waiting list, and I shouldn't bother applying. And luckily, I am a stubborn Dutch person, like most Dutch people. We're stubborn people. I said, well, I want to apply anyway.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Troy. When is the appropriate?
Sorry, Don, you just want to mute. Sorry, Don, can you repeat your question? You went on mute.
Yes, I don't know when the appropriate time to ask questions would be. I missed that part. I'm sorry.
No, anytime.
Oh, well, I have a question. You were talking about assisted living. Can you talk more about that? I didn't even know about that option.
Absolutely. I'll get to that in just a moment. So I had to fill out this application, and I had to have a psychiatrist sign off on it, and my counselor through ODSP sign off on it. And they said, again, they both told me, don't even try. Like, then, and I was like, well, I want to. I said, there's a, you know, if I can, why not? And my psychiatrist, at the time, she says, if and when you get an interview, say, and if any of you are looking for independent living, I recommend saying this exactly. For my own mental well-being, I can no longer be in the place I'm in. And those are the exact words that she told me. And I got an interview for the place that I'm in now. And I said exactly that. And 2 weeks later, I got a phone call and was told that I got the place. And a week and a half later, I'm here. Now, when I got moved into a retirement home, I had to give away all my stuff, my dining table, my sofa, chairs, you know, everything. And when I moved into this place, I what's this? Oh, just got a freezing rain warning for Ottawa. My friends very generously, and my family gave me everything I have, and I have a shelf unit. I've got a dresser. I've got a king size bed. I just got this sofa that I'm sitting on through one of my coworkers, which I'll get into. The assisted living is absolutely amazing. I have PSW that comes 4 times a day. Sometimes I do call and cancel because I just want to be left alone, to be honest. But they come at 7 a.m., 1 o'clock. In between that time, I have somebody from Bayshore that comes and gives me a shower and does anything else I need. And then they come at night at 7 p.m. And then that's it. And if I need dishes done, if I need my bed made, if I need laundry done, I need my floor mopped or whatever I need done, they do. But it is enough help that I can live independently. I don't have to ask to leave. I don't have to do anything. I get to cook again. I took a course back started at the end of February, and it's called In Motion and Momentum. And it is available across Canada. It's free. Look it up. I recommend it for anybody who is looking for anything in your life to build either mental well-being. I didn't get to read that whole thing. What did it say? Mark, you're on mute.
Don't worry about that. Well, we can get to it as soon as we're done here. Just maybe a few more minutes.
Yeah.
Troy, do you want to? So all that is a lot to go through. How did you get back into the mindset that you wanted to start cooking again?
What happened was when I started the IM&M, I was like, well, one of the things is the question I asked is, what is your passion in life? What is it that you love to do? And for me, my biggest stress relief has always been cooking. And I know for some people, cooking is very stressful. For me, I can blank out and just create something and then enjoy it. And through that course, I was like, well, my passion is cooking. And that's the one thing I miss that has been taken away from me. And I was like, you know what? I want to teach disabled people, whether that is mental disability or physical disability, how to cook simple, healthy meals within the resources that we have. So a person on disability has a very limited income. We live well below the poverty line. So we're reliant on resources, outsourcing and stuff. And so I decided to start what I called Cooking Together. And is a weekly Zoom classes. And now I've actually applied to say we're starting in-person classes. And people join, it's completely free. And each week we create healthy meals with the resources we get. And Parkdale Food Center heard about what I was doing. And they approached me and said, you should not be doing this for free. And they were like, how are you living? I'm like, well, I'm on ODSP. And they're like, no, you need to be paid for this. We want to bring you on as a staff member. And so they presented me with a contract and I said yes. and we're now up to 2 classes a week, Thursday, Friday. We just had a class on Sunday with our first in-person class, and we made almost 3,000, if not more, cookies, which we are now giving out to our neighbors. So, and when I say our neighbors, what that means is anyone around us here and anyone that comes to us for any sort of assistance, whether that be food, mental, whatever. We are giving them out as a gift. Fridays for me are crazy. 9:30 in the morning, I go into Parkdale and I cook over 200 meals. And that includes a hot meal, some sort of salad. We make some sort of drink. Then we give that out to people who queue up who want food. On top of that, we also provide fresh produce, and they can have whatever they want. And it's been absolutely fabulous. And yesterday, I've had a bunch of interviews through media outlets that are fascinated with the idea that, a person that is being told, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I have pushed back saying, watch me, and I'm doing it. And, like I see on our Facebook group, and I'm not pointing anybody out when I say this, but I see so much negativity towards our disease. And what I've done for myself is I've gone, okay, I've got this disease, but what doesn't it stop me from doing? And instead of focusing on what I can't, I'm trying to focus on what I can. And if I can't do it, I'm still going to try. And if I need to have help, then you know what? I ask. If I'm at the grocery store, I can't read something, I used to be embarrassed when I first ended up in a wheelchair. And it was the hardest thing for me to ask somebody, can you grab that for me? Because I can't. And, my personal pride was hurt. And, I got home and I was like, you know what? I need to stop and just go, suck it up. This is who you are. This is how you are now. Deal with it and make the best you can be. And that's what I'm doing. And I just got offered another job yesterday, which would be on a national level, teaching people, again, that have disabilities, how to cook, how to simple things like how to hold a knife, how to cut an onion. And one thing one of my biggest things is think ahead. So say tonight you want to make pasta. Okay, well, you need onions, you need celery. You're going to chop those up, right? Well, chop up a whole bunch of extra, put it in a Ziploc, squish out the air, put it in the freezer. So on this day when you're having a bad day, like when you have zero energy, and which is a day like today for me, I'm like zero energy. You know what? Reach in the freezer. You've already got the onion. You've already got the celery. You've already got the mushrooms. It's all chopped, ready to go. Just dump it in a pan and cook. It's, and that's what I teach them. And a lot of people are like, oh, or especially for people with ataxia, when you're, how a lot of us will have swallowing problems. Like my one of my doctors said you can't eat an apple anymore because the skin could get stuck because of the swallowing issues. So I was, and like, you can't eat celery. I was like, well, I can peel the skin off the apple, and I can peel those strings off the back of the celery. So then you got the celery, but you don't get those strings, which would get stuck in your throat and you choke. And it's those little things that I'm teaching and I'm showing people that we could take everyday foods and just make a little extra. Like, I'm not a fan of canned tuna, but from food banks, you often get canned tuna. So last week and this week, last week, I taught a class on how to make stuffed pasta shells with a tuna stuffing. And there was celery, mushroom, onions, dill. And if they're in my catchment zone, I actually will provide the food. So if they're going to join my class, I will actually send on Wednesdays a bag of all the ingredients. Plus, I often send extra stuff. Like right now, a local farmer donated, I think, about a half a ton of garlic. So if my recipe calls for garlic, I'm sending you about 4, 5, or 6 bulbs of garlic. And again, I tell people, okay, cut it in half, a little bit of oil, tin foil, roast it, cool it, dump it in a jar, cover it in oil. Now you have garlic oil, or you have garlic paste that you can use for a future recipe. So no food waste. So it's like, I'm trying to take every point that I can to not just for Ataxians, but for anybody to be positive, be happy. Like right before class, one of my students sent me a text message, and I kind of went into panic mode because he was like, I'm so sorry for bothering you. I won't do it again. I'll leave you alone. I was like, whoa, whoa, no, stop this. Like I said, go buy some sage, take the negative out of your house, burn the sage. I said, and she's at First Nations. So I said, ask the spirits to give you strength. And I said, if you don't smarten up, I said, you're close enough. I'm going to throw a shoe and I'm going to hit you the back of the head. So, she was like, okay, thanks. And she's like, Troy, you're right. I need to go for a walk. I'm going to go for a walk, get the fresh air, go buy the sage, cleanse your house, and take your meds. Because she's off her meds already. But, like, honestly, Mark, I never dreamed in May when I started this journey that I'd be where I am today. That I would have so many new friends. I'd be not only counseling, but cooking with people. Even in my building, I've got neighbors that are coming over later for dinner. And my PSWs, when I was with my students on Sunday, I brought home a bunch of cookies and I gave a bunch of my PSWs to just say thank you for all your help, for what you're doing for me, for picking me up off the floor when I had a bad fall in September. And honestly, I probably should have gone to hospital, but I didn't. I was getting out of my wheelchair to go to the bathroom, like go to the toilet, and my hand wouldn't do what I wanted to do, and I was reaching for a grab bar, and my hand jerked, but I was already physically in motion to get up, and I hit the toilet and I fell between the toilet and the wall. And, you know, there's no judgment by them. They're amazing staff and I absolutely love them. It's been an amazing year. And I just want all of you to just let's not focus on what Ataxia is doing to us, but focus on what we can still do and how we can reach out and be positive for somebody else. And you know what? For that ignorant person on the street that thinks you're drunk or thinks you are stumbling because you're high on something, be open about it. It's like, you know what? No, I have this disorder, and let me quickly tell you about it. Like, I had a woman, I was sitting at the bus stop, I had a woman come up and say, oh, do you have Parkinson's? Because my legs are going like this, which they just do for some time because I don't know why, but they just do. And I was like, no, I have Ataxia. And she was like, oh, what's that? I was like, well, let me tell you. And she was like, this is a mistake. I would never have guessed. Like, I see somebody walking down the street that's stumbling and I just make assumptions. I was like, well, now you know. And now you won't make those assumptions, right? And she was like, absolutely not. So, you know, it's those little things where if all of us are open and willing to let people in and just embrace what we have and use it to our advantage instead of constantly posting our disadvantages. How about we post, let's say for the rest of December, anything you post on Hope for Ataxia Community, post an advantage. How you've taken this, what we have, and instead of saying, oh, you know, I hate how hard it is for me to get out of bed, post, you know what? I got out of bed the fastest I have yet this month. Like, make those little things. So that will be encouragement for somebody else. Like, do you see what I'm trying to say there? Like, show somebody else your strengths, because that will give them courage to be a stronger individual with our disorder. And I just think that's what how we need to start really focusing. Like, I could show you, which you can't really see here, I have a whole bunch of cuts and stuff in my hand from hitting walls or burns. Like, I got a good one there. I have no idea how I did that. I didn't feel it. I've got bruises on my leg. I don't know how I got that one, but I'm not posting about my pains. I only will post things that are positive because I want to encourage other people to be positive. And that's how I went from being told I can't to I am doing it. And I've gone back to those doctors and I literally said, remember 4 years ago, you told me you'd never live on your own? Here I am. You'll never work again? Yeah, well, I now have basically 2 jobs. I'm waiting on a contract for a national job. You know what? I did it. And I did because I chose to not be negative. And that's how we have to be. We can't. It really does bother me, and it does make me emotional to constantly see the negative that everyone posts. I'm like, guys, we can't have this mindset. We've gotten ourselves a mindset of just poor me, poor me, poor me. And excuse me, I'm a chef, so I'm allowed to do this one. Because you know what? You have so much more than the just, oh, I can't. Well, get the hell out of that mindset and say, I can, and just do it. Susan, Donna, you guys might not realize it, but you both been very positive influence for me because you're both always so happy. You are both so kind. And when I met you guys, I was like, that's the right mindset. And that's what helped propel me to be where I am today.
Well, thanks for that, Troy. That's a good message for everyone. Just wanted to remind people that the recording of this session will be available on YouTube and on Facebook. So, Troy, thanks for taking the time to speak with us. Why don't I open it up for questions? You can just raise your hands and I will then ask you to unmute. Like, use the raise hand button and I will unmute you and you can ask the question you have. Please keep it to one question as we want to be fair to everyone and give them a chance. And we have limited time too. So go ahead and raise your hand. Who is that? Don. Okay. Go ahead, Don.
I can't hit the button that fast. Anyway, so what is this assisted living? Where do you live? You said Bayshore. There's Bayshore in this state. Are you in Delaware?
I'm in Ottawa, Canada. Bayshore is a NGO organization that helps people with disabilities. So it's anything from cleaning to bathing. Bayshore comes in. I live in a building that is a regular apartment building, but there are 20 suites in this building that are for people that are on assisted living. And what that entails is they come in 3 times a day and they do anything I need. If I need my bed made, if I need my clothes folded properly, because God knows they don't do it properly. I'm a neat freak, but being in a wheelchair, I need everything below, so it's a bit of a cluster. But I'm very organized. But they come in, they do anything. Bayshore comes in and they help me with extra things that I need. So like I'm in the process right now of getting a new cushion for my wheelchair that's going to be provide better lift because I was getting bed sores. Because obviously it's very unsafe for me to try to walk in any way. Like I'm very jealous of Mark doing burpees. I think if I tried one, I'd probably break something, to be honest. But Bayshore comes in and they check my equipment. They provide me with a wheelchair shower. So I have a wheelchair shower in my regular wheelchair. And they give me, my bath and anything else I need. It's literally anything I need.
One more question that I have. What was that the name of that organization you mentioned? IM&M?
Yes. It's In Motion and Momentum. If you'd like, I will post. I'll give it to you right now. Okay.
That's fine. I've got it, and Courtney will post it on the follow-up email, and then I can find it reposted in the group. That's cool. I think Susan had a question. Just a minute. Susan, go ahead. You can unmute.
I don't actually have a question. I just wanted to say that Troy is one who inspires the rest of us, right? He's a good example of what can be done and done.
anyone, certainly anyone else, just raise your hand. No? Going once, twice?
All good.
Sold to the man in the red coat. Okay.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Christmas shirt.
But anyways, Troy, thanks a lot for taking the time to do this, and it was really informative. And have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, I'm about to go teach a class. I delayed it. My class is on Friday is at 4 o'clock. I delayed to 4:30 so I could join today. I'm teaching how to make lactas, and they're going to have a poached egg and caramelized onions. So it'll be very neat to see anyone can join. Please do. Super easy to just check out parkdalefoodcenter.org. Our website, parkdalefoodcenter.org. It's for the Americans. Center is spelled CENTRE.org. Check us out. Our links are on there, and you're more than welcome to join our classes. For anyone in Ottawa, please come join my class. I'd love to see you there. And you know what? If I can't get the food to you, you can at least pick it up. So, and I give a generous amount, because I give whatever the local farmers or whatever. Like example, we just partnered with a local they provide eggs. We get 112,000 eggs a week now. So if you need some eggs, hit me up.
Sounds.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks.